But mom still forces me to take part in freshman orientation drills, just to avoid accusations of favoritism. As I stand at attention in the 95-degree heat, my lips start turning blue. With no other choice, I raise a trembling hand. Miss Horton, I don't feel well. Before I can finish, Roxanne Horton, the instructor leading our drills, coldly slaps my hand down. Only half an hour in, and you're already faking sick to get out of training. And you have the nerve to lie to my face? Is this how your parents raised you? Mom stands just a few feet away as the dean of Hawthorne College. She immediately feels humiliated, and turns to glare at me. Everyone else is holding up just fine. You're the only one demanding special treatment, she snaps. No daughter of mine would act like this. You'll stand here alone for another hour. Let's see how long you keep up this act. But I'm already struggling to breathe. My legs give way beneath me and I collapse to the ground, touching my throat as my face turns purplish red before everything fades to black. I reach a trembling hand out toward Mom. My inhaler, help me. But Mom's expression hardens. She turns away and lets my hand drop limply back into the dirt. You've barely been standing for half an hour, and you're already pretending to have an asthma attack. Do you think I got to be dean by falling for every ridiculous lie? She scoffs. Get up right now. Stop embarrassing yourself. When Roxanne realizes that I still haven't moved, she flies into a rage. She grabs the back of my collar and tries to haul me upright. By then though, I'm already drifting upward, hovering above them, looking down at Mom's cold, disappointed face. I twist the sweat-soaked hem of my shirt, overcome with shame. I'm sorry, Mom. I'll never be the daughter you can be proud of. Roxanne Horton, the drill instructor hired for orientation week, grabs my collar and tries to pull me up with all her strength. But no matter how many times she tries, my limp body slips from her hands and collapses back onto the pavement. She cannot lift me. The students nearby can no longer stand watching. One of them quietly nudges me. Isabel, Miss Horton and Miss Sheldon are really angry right now. Stop being stubborn and get up. But I still don't move. My lips have already changed from purple red to a terrifying bluish white. That only makes Roxanne angrier. She throws my body back onto the ground like a useless object. You're really testing my patience. Since you love putting on a performance so much, stay right there. You can lie on the ground for 3 hours, not 1 second less. The pavement beneath me is nearly 140 degrees, hot enough to cook an egg, hot enough to burn human skin. The side of my face and my arms press against the scorching ground. Within seconds, blisters begin forming on my skin. It is a horrifying sight, yet I can only hover above my own body, helpless and desperate. Natalie Clifford has always been kind to me. When she sees what is happening, she finally steps forward. Miss Horton, Isabel really does have a medical condition. What if she actually passed out? The ground is burning hot. Nobody would willingly lie there just to fake being sick. Roxanne only gives her a cold look. Miss Sheldon is such an outstanding woman. How did she end up with a daughter this weak and useless? Even if she has a medical condition, there is no way it would happen after only 30 minutes of standing, she sneers. She's just using her identity as the dean's daughter to demand special treatment. Now that she isn't getting what she wants, she's throwing a tantrum and pretending to be unconscious. Freeze in midair. Shame consumes me because the worst part is I understand why everyone believes her. After my parents divorced, Mom devoted everything to raising me. She supported me through every step of her journey from elementary school principal to college dean. She always told me she would give me everything I wanted. But she also reminded me again and again. At school, she was the dean before she was my mother. She could never show favoritism. I took those words seriously. No matter how well I performed in the school she managed, I never asked for recognition. I never wanted anyone to think I succeeded because of her. I became the obedient, sensible daughter everyone praised. But now, in front of the entire freshman class, I had become the daughter who embarrassed her. Natalie realizes Roxanne will not listen, so she turns to Mom. Miss Sheldon, she's your daughter. Shouldn't you take her to see a doctor? With hundreds of people watching, Mom puts on the same expression she always wears, the expression of a completely impartial dean. She's my daughter. That is exactly why I need to be stricter with her. Everyone else has been standing here for the same amount of time. Why is she the only one who cannot endure it? I hired Miss Horton because she is the strictest and most capable instructor this college could find. She is here to make every student stronger. My daughter is no exception. Anyone who speaks up for her will stand for 1 extra hour. The entire field falls silent. Everyone looks up at the merciless sun. Nobody dares say another word. Mom crouches down in front of me. Just gusts fill her face. Then she raises her hand and slaps me. Get up right now. Stop embarrassing yourself. I hovered above the field, completely helpless. Again and again, I tried to return to my body. I wanted to wake up. I wanted to stand up like everyone else. I wanted to tell them that I wasn't pretending. But no matter how hard I tried, my body remained motionless on the ground because I was already dead. When I still didn't move, Mom's humiliation turned into anger. She had always cared deeply about how people saw her. And now, in front of hundreds of freshmen, she believed I was making her look like a foolish mother who couldn't control her own daughter. She stepped forward and kicked me several times. You're doing this on purpose, aren't you? Her voice shook with anger because you ranked first but didn't receive the Outstanding Freshman Award. You chose today to embarrass me. Her words became sharper. When your father and I divorced, why did I fight so hard to keep a daughter like you? The entire field fell silent. Nobody spoke. Nobody moved. But inside me something shattered. I wanted to scream. I wanted to tell her that I had never blamed her, that I knew exactly what she had sacrificed. When Dad left, Mom had nothing. She was only a housewife at the time, and he forced her to leave the marriage with almost nothing. But when the court asked about custody, she never hesitated. She chose me. She even gave me her last name to raise me. She returned to work. She became a professor, then a department leader, then eventually the dean of Hawthorne College. I was the only person who saw how many nights she cried after failing at work. I was the only person who knew how scared she was when I was sick and lying in a hospital bed. That was why I always tried to make her life easier. I tried to protect the reputation she had fought so hard to build. When I became the top-ranked freshman, I gave up the award she believed could create rumors. When I earned the chance to study abroad, I gave that up too. Even though I was the best candidate. Even though it was the dream I had always wanted, I accepted everything. I convinced myself it was worth it, because I thought Mom was doing it for fairness. But at that moment, I didn't need fairness. I didn't need an award. I didn't need anyone's approval. I only needed my inhaler. Roxanne grabbed my collar again. She lifted my body slightly and shook me. Your mother is someone I have always admired, but you are such a disappointment. You can't even stand through a simple drill without trying to escape. After everything Miss Sheldon went through to become who she is today, how can you even face her? She gave me one final warning. Get up right now. Stop bringing shame to your mother. Otherwise, every second you lie here is another second your classmates have to suffer with you. But I couldn't answer. I couldn't move because I was already gone. Mom's anger reached its limit. She stepped forward and kicked me in the chest first. You fake being sick. Now you're pretending to be dead. Get up right now. Don't force me to become even harsher around me. The students began losing patience. Isabel, enough. Get up already. Everyone is suffering because of you. Some even blamed me for making them stand under the sun. I floated above them, watching. Every cruel word hit me. I wanted to explain. I wanted them to know the truth. But there was nothing I could do. I was already dead. Then Mom looked toward the edge of the field at the heavy metal manhole cover glowing under the sun. She likes lying on the ground so much. Then move her there. Let's see how long she can keep pretending. The moment Mom pointed at the manhole cover, everyone froze. The metal surface shimmered in the heat. The pavement was already burning at nearly 140 degrees. The metal had to be even hotter, hot enough to burn exposed skin within seconds. But Mom didn't hesitate. Her eyes were filled with anger and disappointment. She grabbed my hair and dragged my body across the scorching ground. My skin was already damaged from lying there. The rough pavement tore it open further. A trail of blood followed behind me. Several instructors from nearby groups rushed over. Miss Sheldon, this is too dangerous. The ground is burning hot. If she really isn't feeling well, letting her rest won't hurt anyone. But Mom refused to listen. I'm doing this for her own good. If she receives special treatment just because she's my daughter, what happens when she enters the real world? How will she ever become strong? For my own good. Those words again. Every time Mom took something away from me, she used the same excuse. Every time I lost something that should have belonged to me, it was because she wanted to prove she was fair. Slowly I learned something painful. No matter how much I needed her, I could never expect her to stand on my side. So I became quieter, more obedient. I swallowed every disappointment because I thought that was what a good daughter did. Roxanne looked at the other instructors with contempt. You are all too soft. The moment you see a little blood, you lose your courage. That's why students don't respect you. She looked at Mom proudly. Miss Sheldon and I understand each other. Strong people are not created through comfort. They are created through suffering. The other instructors fell silent. They knew arguing would only make things worse. Then Mom tightened her grip, slammed my body onto the burning metal cover. A sharp sizzling sound cut through the air. Several students covered their mouths. Oh my God, that thing is hot enough to burn someone alive. Why isn't Isabel moving? What if something is actually wrong? But Roxanne only laughed. Why are you panicking? I've trained countless freshmen. I've seen students like her before. She cares more about her pride than her own life. Mom looked at Roxanne. With gratitude, you really know how to handle someone like her. I can finally relax knowing the students are in your hands. Only then did Mom take out my inhaler, the thing I had begged for, the thing I needed to survive. But instead of giving it to me, she handed it to Roxanne. Don't give it to her until she admits she was wrong. I spoiled her too much. She needs to learn a lesson. The longer I stay, the more she will continue pretending. Then Mom walked away. She never saw Roxanne's expression change. She never saw Roxanne turn around and throw my inhaler into the trash. Asthma? Give me a break. She's just pretending to be fragile to gain sympathy. If she was really having an attack, why did she only ask for the inhaler once? 'Cause she's acting. I won't tolerate weakness from anyone I train. Then Roxanne turned back toward the students. Everyone face her. Stand at attention. Nobody rests until Isabel gets up. That order was the last straw. Every look directed at me shifted from pity to hatred. It wasn't just my classmates grinding their teeth. The students from the other classes looked ready to kill me too. Even the male instructors who had spoken up for me a minute earlier had gone cold. Heat like this. Everyone wanted to get off their feet as soon as possible. Instructor Kieran West stepped forward, trying to reason with me. Isabel, have some collective decency, have some collective decency. 1,000 students are baking in the sun because of you. Looking closer, Kieran suddenly stumbled back, collapsing in terror. Her face is burned raw, he shouted. She isn't flinching. What if she's actually in danger? He reached forward to check if I was breathing, but Roxanne barked at him to stop. This is why I say you're all pathetic, she said. She's only playing dead because she knows you'll fall for it. Go on, touch her if you don't believe me. If she were really dead, she'd be cold by now. Half convinced, Kieran laid a hand on my arm and found it burning hot. Humiliation flushed through him. He spat at my feet. Faking your own death to scare your instructors. Mrs. Sheldon was right. You deserve everything you get. The formations erupted in fury. Selfish bitch. Ruining orientation for everyone. Dean Sheldon is a saint. How did she birth such trash? Or we'll make your next 4 years hell. I trembled in midair, desperate to move a body that no longer had a pulse. I drifted to Mom's office upstairs. She was calmly brewing chicken soup in a slow cooker. Professor smiled, making restorative soup for Isabel. Dean Sheldon, what a devoted mother, Mom sighed. And yet she's throwing tantrums on the field, faking an asthma attack after 30 minutes in the sun. I raised her. Does she think I can't spot a lie? The colleague whose daughter took my exchange spot chimed in. Isabel is thoughtful, thanks to her. My girl is studying in Europe. Don't be too harsh on her. Mom shook her head in disappointment. It was her duty as my daughter. She should understand that after the scene she's caused today. How could anyone call her sensible? Shouts from the field drew the faculty to the window. Seeing the massive crowd surrounding my scorched frame, Mom's eyes flickered with instinctive panic. She stepped toward the door, then froze, letting her pride hold her back. When the professors heard what the students were accusing me of and finally realized what was happening, the color drained from their faces. Miss Sheldon, Isabel has been lying on that scorching metal all this time. That's punishment enough. If the entire student body turns against her, how is she supposed to hold her head up around here for the next 4 years? Mom turned her face away. After the divorce, I raised her on my own while the whole world pointed fingers at me. Lying there for a while and taking a few insults will teach her that special treatment won't get her through life. Otherwise, she'll turn out just like her deadbeat father, irresponsible and selfish. I stared at the steam rising from the chicken soup, anxious and completely at a loss. Mom, I wasn't being selfish. I was really dead. The next morning, Mom woke to a strange sound coming from her kitchen. Drip, drip, drip. She followed it downstairs and stopped when she saw the chicken soup. The slow cooker was still running, except the soup inside had turned completely black. Mom stared at it. Then she noticed something carved into the wooden lid. You said it was for my own good. Her face went pale. She called the housekeeper. Who touched this? Nobody, Dean Sheldon. Mom wiped the words away with a trembling hand. Then someone is playing a cruel prank. She didn't say my name. She didn't have to. I hovered behind her. For the first time since dying, I smiled. A cruel prank? Fine. If that was what she wanted to call it, I'd give her one. I didn't need a courtroom. I didn't need a police investigation. I had spent 18 years being the daughter who never caused trouble. Now I was going to become the problem she couldn't discipline. At 8 a.m., the college's official orientation photographs were uploaded to the school's website. Hundreds of students stood in perfect formation beneath the blazing sun. At the center was my body, burned, bruised, motionless, and standing directly beside me was Mom. Her hand was around Roxanne's shoulder. Both women were smiling. The caption read, Hawthorne College Orientation, Building Discipline, Character, and Excellence. The photograph spread through campus within minutes. Then someone posted a second photograph. It showed Mom holding my inhaler. Then another. Roxanne dragging me across the pavement. Then another. My body lying on the burning manhole cover. Nobody knew who had uploaded them, but every picture had been taken by students. The comments exploded. Wait, was she actually unconscious? Why did the dean have her inhaler? That girl isn't moving in any of these pictures. Call the police. Mom's phone began ringing. Again, again, again. She ignored every call. Then the dean's office door opened. Professor Malcolm Reed walked in. He was holding his phone. His face looked sick. Margaret. Mom looked up. What? You need to see this. He placed the phone on her desk. A video was playing. It had been filmed from the second floor window. It showed everything. Me collapsing. My lips turning blue. Natalie begging for help. Mom refusing. Roxanne dragging me. The metal cover. The inhaler. And finally, Mom walking away. There was no dramatic music. No editing. No narration. Just the truth. Mom watched the entire thing. Her fingers began trembling. Where did this come from? We don't know. Take it down. It's already been downloaded thousands of times. She stood abruptly. Who recorded it? Malcolm stared at her. Margaret, the problem isn't who recorded it. He swallowed. The problem is that your daughter is dead. Mom froze. She stared at him, then laughed. It was a strange, brittle laugh. Don't say that. Her pulse was checked by 3 different people. Don't. The medical examiner. I said don't. Her voice cracked. She grabbed the phone and threw it against the wall. The screen shattered. And at that exact moment, every monitor in the dean's office turned on. One by one, the same video appeared. Mom stumbled backward. No. The speakers crackled. Then my voice came through. Mom. She stopped breathing. Malcolm turned white. The voice continued. You always said you were the dean before you were my mother. Mom's knees nearly buckled. So don't treat me like your daughter now. The screens went black. By noon, the college board had suspended Roxanne. By 3, the police had arrived. But Mom still refused to accept what had happened. She kept repeating the same thing. She was pretending. The medical examiner stared at her. Her lungs were severely damaged from an untreated asthma attack. Mom shook her head. She wanted attention. She died. She was angry about the scholarship. She died. She wanted revenge because she didn't win the award. The examiner's expression hardened. Dean Sheldon, your daughter had been dead for nearly 3 hours before anyone called emergency services. Mom went silent. 3 hours. That number finally reached her. 3 hours of me lying there. 3 hours while she made soup. 3 hours while she told people I was selfish. 3 hours while she defended the woman who had thrown my inhaler into the trash. Mom slowly lowered herself into a chair. Then she whispered, I was going to give it back. I hovered beside her. I knew she was lying. Maybe she knew it too. Roxanne's punishment came faster than anyone expected. Her certification was revoked. The college terminated her contract. But that wasn't enough for me. I wanted her to understand exactly what it meant to destroy someone while believing you were teaching them a lesson. So that night, Roxanne received an anonymous package. Inside was my inhaler. The same inhaler she had thrown away, along with a single note. You were right. Weak people should learn to survive. She stared at it for a long time. Then her phone rang. Hello. Nobody answered. She hung up. It rang again. Same number. This time she answered on speaker. Static filled the room. Then my voice whispered, Miss Horton. Roxanne dropped the phone. She backed away from it. No. Do you remember telling everyone I was pretending? She covered her ears. Stop. You were right about one thing. My voice became softer. I really was lying there. She stared at the phone. You just didn't understand what I was lying there for. The call ended. Roxanne spent the rest of the night sitting beneath every light in her apartment. She didn't sleep. But Mom was the one I wanted most. Because Roxanne had hated me for one afternoon. Mom had spent years teaching me that her love came with conditions. So I decided to take away the thing she valued most. Her reputation. The following Monday, Hawthorne College's board called an emergency meeting. Mom walked into the conference room expecting to defend herself. Instead, every board member was staring at a folder. One of them pushed it across the table. Inside were records. My scholarship. My exchange opportunity. The Outstanding Freshman Award. Every opportunity Mom had quietly blocked to avoid accusations of favoritism. And beside each one was a handwritten note from Mom explaining why I should be excluded. Potential conflict of interest. Could create rumors. Other students deserve the opportunity. Mom stared at the pages. Then the board chair said, You didn't prevent favoritism. You manufactured the appearance of fairness. Mom's face drained. The next document was worse. It showed that the student who received my exchange position was the daughter of one of Mom's closest colleagues. Mom had personally approved the transfer. The room went silent. For 18 years, Mom had told me I couldn't have anything because she had to be fair. Now everyone could see the truth. She hadn't been fair. She had simply made me pay the price for her fear of what people might say. I smiled. That was my revenge. I wasn't going to forgive her. I wasn't going to become some noble ghost who wanted everyone to learn a lesson. I wanted her to live with the exact reputation she had spent her entire life trying to avoid. And I was just getting started. Because on the final page of the folder was a photograph Mom had never seen. It showed her handing my inhaler to Roxanne. Underneath it was one sentence. Don't give it back until she admits she's wrong. Mom stared at the photograph. Her hands began shaking. Then her phone rang. The caller ID displayed my name, Isabel Sheldon. Mom couldn't move. The phone kept ringing and ringing until she finally answered. My voice whispered, Mom, I know what you did. Then I laughed. Now let's see how long you can keep pretending you were doing it for my own good. Mom didn't answer. She couldn't. Her fingers were wrapped around the phone so tightly that her knuckles had turned white. Isabel. I heard the fear in her voice. It was the first time I'd ever heard it directed at me. I smiled. Did you miss me? The board members stared at her. One whispered, who is she talking to? Mom abruptly ended the call. Then she stood. I need some air. The board chair blocked the door. No. You need to explain why you concealed your daughter's medical condition, while allowing an instructor to abuse her. Mom's lips trembled. I thought she was pretending. And when you saw her unconscious? I thought. She couldn't finish. I floated behind her. Say it, Mom. She looked toward the empty corner of the room. For one horrible second, our eyes met. I thought she was manipulating me. Nobody spoke. I laughed quietly. She heard me. Her face turned white. That evening, Mom went to the cemetery. She didn't tell anyone. She brought flowers. White lilies. The same flowers she'd brought to my elementary school graduation. She placed them against my gravestone and stood there for almost an hour. I made a mistake. I floated beside her. A mistake? She lowered her head. I thought I was protecting you. I laughed. You were protecting yourself. She flinched. You don't understand. Oh, I understand perfectly. Ik held it beside her. You were terrified people would say your daughter succeeded because her mother was Dean. Mom wiped her eyes. So I thought if I treated you harder than everyone else, nobody could accuse me of favoritism. You didn't treat me harder. I stared at her. You erased me. Her shoulders shook. I loved you. No. I leaned closer. You loved the version of me that never asked you for anything. Mom covered her face. And for the first time, I didn't feel sorry for her. That surprised me. I'd spent my entire life trying to understand her. Now I realized I didn't have to. The next morning, Mom received another package. Inside was my student ID. It had been recovered from the orientation field. Behind it was a flash drive. She plugged it into her computer. A recording appeared. It was me, alive, taken 3 nights before orientation. I was sitting at my desk, smiling at the camera. If you're watching this, something happened to me. Mom's breathing stopped. On the recording, I continued. I've been thinking about something you told me. I smiled sadly. You said a good daughter shouldn't make her mother choose between her career and her family. Mom covered her mouth. I believed you. The video paused. Then another clip began. Me standing in Mom's office. I was holding a document. My exchange acceptance letter. I got it. My voice sounded excited. I got the scholarship. Mom's recorded voice answered from behind the camera. You can't take it. Why? Because I'm Dean. But you didn't even read it. I don't need to. The younger me looked down. Mom. No. The video ended. Mom stared at the screen. Then she noticed another file. Open me. She clicked it. A spreadsheet appeared. It contained every opportunity I'd surrendered. Every award. Every scholarship. Every internship. Every competition. Beside each one was the student who received it instead. And beneath that was one final column. Mother's reason. Nearly every entry said the same thing. Avoid appearance of favoritism. Mom stared at it. Then she noticed the final entry. Orientation. Reason. Prove she isn't weak. Mom slammed the laptop shut. No. The lights went out. She froze. Then my voice came from the darkness. Still think I'm pretending? At Hawthorne College, the investigation was getting worse. Students began submitting their own recordings. Hundreds. Some showed Roxanne humiliating students. Others showed her forcing 6 students to continue drills. But one video changed everything. Natalie had recorded the moment Mom handed Roxanne my inhaler. She had been standing behind a group of students. Her hands were shaking as she uploaded it. The caption was simple. I should have taken it from her. The video went viral. That evening, Natalie received a message. You did what you could. She stared at it. Isabel. Another message appeared. Now do something else. Attached was a file. Natalie opened it. Her expression changed. It contained the medical records proving I'd had severe asthma since childhood. And at the bottom was something Natalie had never seen. A signed emergency protocol. In the event of an asthma attack, Isabel Sheldon must receive her inhaler immediately and be removed from strenuous activity. The signature belonged to Mom. Natalie's hands began trembling. She knew. She looked at the screen. She knew exactly what to do. The board held its hearing 2 days later. Mom sat alone. Roxanne sat across from her. Neither woman looked at the other. The board chair placed the medical protocol on the table. Dean Sheldon, why did you ignore your daughter's documented emergency plan? Mom stared at the paper. I believed she was faking. You had signed this. I know. You had access to her medical records. I know. You personally witnessed her collapse. Mom's voice became tiny. I know. Then why didn't you help her? Mom looked down and finally said, because I was angry. The room went still. She had finally admitted it. Not confusion. Not misunderstanding. Anger. She had been angry because I'd embarrassed her. She had been angry because I'd lost an award she wanted me to win. She had been angry because people might think she was a bad mother. And while she was angry, I died. The board chair closed the folder. Then you should understand what happens next. Mom looked up. What? You're no longer Dean. Her face collapsed. No. Your employment is terminated effective immediately. No. And the college will cooperate fully with the criminal investigation. Mom suddenly stood. You can't do this. The board chair looked at her coldly. You taught everyone here that consequences build character. Mom froze. He pushed the termination letter toward her. Consider this your lesson. I stood behind him, and I couldn't help laughing. Mom heard it. She slowly turned toward the empty chair beside her. Isabel. Nobody understood why she was staring there, but I was, standing directly beside her, smiling. You finally got what you wanted, Mom. She whispered. What? I leaned toward her ear. Now everyone knows you were fair. Then I disappeared, and for the first time since my death, Mom screamed my name. Mom's resignation became national news within days. The headline was brutal. College dean allowed daughter to die during orientation drill. Students released hundreds of recordings. Roxanne was arrested for reckless endangerment and abuse. Mom was charged with criminal negligence. The college revoked every award and scholarship decision she'd personally influenced during my freshman admission. Then Natalie found the final piece. The original orientation attendance log. It showed that I checked in at 8:02 a.m. My medical emergency was officially recorded at 8:31. But Mom didn't call an ambulance until 11:47. 3 hours. That number destroyed whatever defense she had left. At the trial, Mom finally broke. I thought she was pretending. The prosecutor placed my inhaler on the evidence table. You had the medication. Mom began crying. You could have saved her. She couldn't answer. I watched from the gallery. For once, nobody was asking me to understand her. Roxanne tried blaming Mom. Mom tried blaming Roxanne. Neither worked. Both were convicted. Roxanne received a lengthy prison sentence. Mom lost her career, her reputation, and eventually her freedom. The colleague whose daughter received my exchange position resigned too after investigators discovered she had known about the arrangement. The students who had insulted me publicly were forced to testify. Natalie was the only one who came to my grave every week. She always brought flowers. I should have fought harder, she whispered. I smiled. You were the only one who tried. 6 months later, Hawthorne College held a memorial. They planted a tree in my name. The dean who replaced Mom gave a speech about compassion. I almost laughed. I didn't need a tree. I didn't need a speech. I wanted something much simpler. So that night, I returned to Mom's prison cell. She was sitting on her bed, staring at an old photograph. It was me at 12 years old. I was laughing with a missing front tooth. Mom traced the photograph with one finger. I miss you. I stood beside her. You should. She looked up. Her eyes widened. Isabel. I smiled. I'm still here. She began crying. I would do anything to change it. You can't. I'll spend the rest of my life regretting it. I know. She stared at me. Do you hate me? I thought about it, then shook my head. No. Hope flickered across her face. I smiled. I don't love you either. Her expression crumpled. I spent my whole life trying to be the daughter you could be proud of. I stepped closer. And you spent one afternoon proving I never needed your approval. She covered her face. I turned toward the door. Goodbye, Mom. Isabel. I stopped. Please. I glanced back. She was sobbing. Forgive me. I smiled faintly. No. Then I walked away. Behind me, Mom screamed my name until her voice disappeared into the darkness. And for the first time I didn't turn around. I had spent my entire life trying to earn my mother's approval. My death finally taught me something else. Sometimes, destroying bad people who hurt you feels good. And sometimes it's refusing to give them the forgiveness they spent your entire life assuming they were entitled to.